Hello, Long Beach Post audience. Thank you for joining us for today's live stream conversation. I'm joined by Sherridan Atkinson, HeyDeon, and Hollie Harris, three young Black folks in Long Beach who are going to be sharing some of their experiences. And this is going to be almost entirely about them. But before we get going, I just wanted to put a quick note up top, which is I was happy to do this when I was asked by the Long Beach Post. Because of my job as a sports writer in the city. I've been covering the Black community in Long Beach for the last 13 years. And I was happy to say yes to do it, but it does not change the fact that there have not been enough opportunities for Black journalists in Long Beach, which is why I'm here, and I'm happy to do so. But we've been trying to change that at 562. I hope more organizations are picking up that charge, including the Post, obviously. I also wanted to include a disclaimer. My three friends here are representing their voices and the young Black community in Long Beach, but I'm not asking them to answer questions to represent the Black community at large. I'm asking them to share their experiences and their perspectives because that's how people live. No one is the president of Black Long Beach, and so I want to hear from these three people, but they're going to speak as themselves, and that's how you should take their answers. All three of them grew up in all three of them grew up in Long Beach. I've known all three of them for a long time, and I know that they've all got thoughts about the last couple of weeks. But the reason we asked them on is I think the media tends to do a better job covering kind of advocates and the people who are holding the megaphones at protests. But what we've seen at these protests is there's thousands of people. It's really a protest of the entire community. And I thought it would be valuable to have community members who grew up in Long Beach and know the Black experience in Long Beach, as opposed to just interviewing the people who are organizing the protests. So with that being said, you guys mind introducing yourself just for a second and let people know a little bit about yourself. Sherridan?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sherridan Atkinson. I went to Millikan, graduated in 2014. I went to Long Beach State for a year and a half, and then went to Purdue and graduated there in 2018. I currently play professional volleyball in Europe and in Asia. And because of Miss Rona, I came back early, and then.
Nice.
I think she dropped out a little bit. Okay, Deon?
I'm HeyDeon. I went to Long Beach Poly. I graduated 2014. I went to LBCC, graduated from LBCC. 2016, transferred over to Long Beach State, graduated from Long Beach State. This year, I am a singer-songwriter from Long Beach, California. That's it.
All right, and Hollie, and I should have mentioned up top as well, Hollie actually writes and freelances for us at the 562, and I'm really happy she was able to join us. Hollie, go ahead.
So my name is Hollie Harris. I graduated from Long Beach Poly in 2014. I attended Cal State Long Beach, got my degree in journalism and communications, and was also a part of the track and field team there. So yes, I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys all for joining us. It means a lot to me that you would do it. So the first question is kind of the obvious one, and we'll just go in that same order, Sherridan and Deon and then Hollie. How, on a personal level, how did the death of George Floyd and the protests of the last 2 weeks affect you?
For me personally, it was numbing and shocking at the same time. Numbing because we've seen it a lot, and it's something that everyone else had to deal with, but obviously in our own families and our own communities, we're not blind to what's been going on with Black people and police. And then it was also hurtful because, how can you not feel some type of way with a man literally with a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds begging for his life? So I feel like, especially in me, it kind of woke something up. I feel like for a long time, I've just been a fly on the wall, especially being an athlete. No one really sees your color. They only see your athletic ability, and everyone's treated equal. You get all these perks and benefits and this like that, but they don't really recognize who you are, the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, and things like that. So for me, it was kind of an opportunity, like enough of, being a fly on the wall and actually do something.
As for me, when it happened, I was like, of course, I was like, damn, like everybody else, like this happened once again. But me, I was like, I realized that I never pay attention to the police until they're doing something weird. I forget they exist. So as a Black man, I know I've never caught the police. So I feel like they never helped me in any sense. I remember 16, they put the curfew at 10 p.m. And if he was out, usually they targeted minorities, Black people, Hispanics, just to give them curfew tickets. So like I already had like my odds against them already. So it's like I was shocked about how someone could stand there and watch someone die like that, you know, knowing. And like even the other officer that was standing there as a standby help, like he seen what was going on.
Mhm.
But he didn't. He was too scared. That's what I think. I think he was scared. Like, oh, this white man right here, I can't go over there and help this Black man because he's on the floor, supposedly doing drugs. But like, come on now. Like, if nigga was doing drugs, you know how to help. Sorry if I say nigga. Like, I'm Black. I'm sorry.
You said I'm Black. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be funny. I can already tell.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's in my vocabulary. I try to hold back, but it's like,
You gotta gentrify it for the people. Come on, we can't be out here acting like that.
yeah.
Hollie, how about you?
Okay, I would say for myself, what triggered me first was the Ahmaud Arbery situation. I tried my best not to even engage and watch the video because of, like Sherridan said, the countless times we have seen Black people die online. I tried not to engage with it, but I did see it, and that was my first trigger. And then right after that, it was Breonna. Then right after that, it was George. So it was like, shit, you know, what it's definitely a shift in time right now where Black people are tired and we're trying to gain our power and control back. You know what I'm saying? So I would say not police brutality, but everything that's going on is a blessing in disguise for us to evolve as a people and to get on one accord and to this is our shit. This is our land too. So
Yeah.
it's time for us to represent in the right way and get on one accord.
Something I wanted to ask you guys about, I mean, the coverage of these protests has been, and I think you guys made a really good point that it is like nothing changed about America from the day before that video came out to the day after, right? What changed was so many people saw that video that it shocked people outside the Black community, I think, into understanding what this is what everyone's upset about, right? But there is a certain amount, I mean, there's just a huge amount of trauma that comes with that specific video, and all of these horrible videos that we see are what's spurring this. Has the coverage and seeing all the protests, being at the protests, which I know you guys have been, has that, I don't know, has that been helpful or an inspiration or uplifting in any way to see the response to this stuff as opposed to just kind of being bombarded with these videos?
Is it my turn?
Yes, yeah, Hollie, yes.
Okay.
Hollie.
I would say that seeing all the coverage and the videos kind of been a mixture of emotions, because I feel like the display of the Black community within the news has been weird, and how they have been showing us has not been who we truly are as a people. The looting and all that is not that's not the end all goal. And a lot of the looting has been a lot of people who are not even Black. So how they're portraying us within the news, I feel like they're shutting out what's really happening and removing what the real message and everything is by covering up with looting. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's important that they stay on track and show what the real message is. So that's why I've been having mixed emotions as to how it's been portrayed.
Yeah, Dion?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And at the same time, I feel like they want to keep a certain perspective so they can keep this idea of viewing us as thugs that I've seen constantly over and over. And I tell people all the time, if you not in the streets and seeing what's going on, you would never know. And what, like, they're taking away from what the actual cause is. And they're saying it's George Floyd demonstrations.
Right.
But, you know, it's more than just demonstrations, or like for George Floyd, it's for multiple lives. You got Philando, we have Breonna, we have Ahmaud, we have a long list, you know, even Lionel Gibson now is out here, you know. It's a long list of Black people that's no longer with us because, you know, law enforcement that's supposed to protect and serve, but not really doing their job. And usually they just get hired because that's the only thing they feel like they can do to get power in this society. I think that's just how I stand as far as protesting. Looting, I feel like that was going to happen regardless because people feel like that's the only way they can get their frustration out on companies that they've hated that have like a certain view on.
Yeah, but I saw you posted about that on social media a lot because I think you were one of the first kind of big accounts that shared the flyer for the protests in Long Beach on Sunday. And so you were really kind of instrumental in getting the word out about the protests. But then I saw you being frustrated with that Sunday night as the looting was happening, that you were like, kind of what Hollie was talking about, you were like, the focus should be on the thousands of people that were marching for this issue, right? Not on these people who are looting afterwards.
It's just everybody's on different agendas. I feel like everybody's on different agendas. Like everybody has their own purpose. So it's like me as a person, I can only reach so many people. Everybody else is on their own accord. Sorry, it's a trash can outside. But as far as
it's Monday in Long Beach. It is what it is.
Like, people, it's hard to get everybody on the same accord because people got their own ideas. They're like, we tired, we might as well go riot. And it's the difference between riot and protesting. I think people should make that clear, especially peaceful protesting. And that's the only thing I'm seeing now. They're like, oh, everybody's rioting. Do you know the definition of rioting? Like you should do your Google research and they like trying to compare it to like the Watts riots, but I'm like, it's different, you know? We are having people out there being peaceful. Of course, you're going to get some people that's like 5150, but
right. Well, I mean, it's worth noting that you know that the rioting aspect of it, the looting was Sunday night, right? And we've had 6 straight days of protests with none of that in Long Beach.
Protesting where like police is actually like beating everybody, shooting rubber bullets, like when you just standing there with signs, like they're scared of signs. That's why I look at it. I'm like, if you're not standing in front of them, like you don't know what's going on. Right. And they only gonna show like, oh, these mob of young people are crazy. They're hurting police officers. They're going, I guarantee the police officers going home like, oh, those kids are wild. But they don't even know why those kids is out there. That's the thing.
Sherridan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the whole time the root of everything has been overlooked, and not even, you know, recent police brutality. I mean, like the root, like slavery. Like we've never addressed any of those issues. We've never been apologized to for any of those issues. People don't even know how the police force started. Like in the 1700s, the police, or they were like slave patrols, were meant to bring back slaves that ran away for freedom. They're meant to bring them back to their masters and their plantations. And over the years, that has developed into modern day policing. It never shifted. There was never a break. So you have a whole organization that was never meant to serve and protect Black people in the first place. So how are we supposed to trust and believe that an organization that was never meant for us is all of a sudden now, because it's a new name and they have badges and flashy lights, is for us? And so when you see somebody say like they're scared when they get pulled over, or they're scared when they see a flashlight, a police light in the rearview window, it's for good reason. And I feel like people are kind of missing that with all of the media representation. Like people don't understand the history behind everything that's going on. Like, yes, in a way, we're happy that you can identify police brutality with George Floyd and with Ahmaud. That's great in a sense, but let's not act like this just started in the past decade, 2 decades, 60s, 50s, 40s, however far back you want to go. Our country was founded on brutalizing us. And so I think if people could understand that when they look at something like looting and they look at something like rioting, maybe their viewpoint wouldn't be so harsh. I mean, at the end of the day, I could care less what you think, but I do think it's important to educate people. If we're going to talk about it, at least know what you're talking about, you know?
Right. And to that point, you know, I mean, I think we've talked some about the police side of things. And as you guys mentioned, this is the protests and your guys' involvement in them are sort of bigger than just that specific issue. And to that end, you know, you guys have an audience here that's different than the ones you guys are normally talking to, right? Long Beach Post audience. So a question I have for all three of you is, police brutality is obviously getting quite a bit of attention in the news and Congress is talking about it and everything else, but racism is much bigger issue than just the police and the way that the police interacts with the Black community and other communities of color. So, do you have an instance where racism has impacted you or affected your life that's maybe different from what you've seen covered in the media, right? That maybe might surprise someone who doesn't talk to people in the Black community regularly. Sherridan.
For myself, I'm actually in a pickle because I have never experienced being scared when a police officer pulls me over, or have been called the N-word, or like the ER N-word, the harsh one, or anything like that. Like a lot of people in the community can say that they have. I feel like where I went wrong was not speaking up for people that have endured that. A lot of people feel like if you don't endure something, you can't understand it, therefore you can't speak up on it. And I remember in our locker room, this happened at Long Beach, also at Purdue, where some of the white girls on the team would be like, I could never bring a Black man home. My parents would just disown me. Or, oh my gosh, he's such a big, Black, greasy gorilla. And I remember like sitting there with me and 3 of my other teammates who were Black, so there were 4 Black girls, and we were just like what are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to do? And being the person who I am now, I would have shut it all the way down. But being the person I was back then, I was like, well, I mean, she's not talking about me, or like, she's not calling me a big Black, like, I guess it doesn't affect me. So personally, like, to anyone listening, I would just challenge you, if you ever feel like it's not affecting you, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have a responsibility to correct a wrong. You have the responsibility to speak up and to say something and to educate other people. I feel like that's why I'm so passionate about it now, because I never want to be in that situation again where I'm letting somebody fly off the handle and I'm just sitting there like, no, we have to talk about these things. So personally, those have been my experiences, hearing things and just like letting them go by and figuring out who raised y'all. Like, why did you ever think that was okay to say something? But personally, for me, I've never experienced anything.
Dion?
Dang, this is a touchy topic. Racism, I just feel like that's something that will never go away, sadly, as much as I would love it to. It's something that has been here forever, especially because Black is viewed as a negative. There's never been something positive about being Black besides being an athlete or in the form of entertainment. Of course, when Obama, which is half and half, got in, it was still negative. They never truly accepted him. And of course, nobody's perfect. And as far as being Black, I'm like, when I look at Obama, like they bash everything about him, but it's like, do you look at the presidents before him? He's carrying the weight from people before him. And it's a heavy weight that we have to carry every day as far as being Black. I think that it's hard. I can't even really talk about racism because like I try to live my life without thinking about it, but I know it's there because if I go in certain stores, they ask me, do I need help every 5 seconds when I know what I want?
Right.
Or if I go into a certain neighborhood, they'll look at me like, oh, he's not over here. He's not from over here. Do you know where you're going? Like, yes, I know where I'm going. I got maps. I don't need your help. It's one of those things that I have to deal with, especially like with the Belmont Shore. Like, of course, we'll talk about it, but it's like, I don't think they'll never understand us, and I don't expect them to, because like it's their ancestors and it's just been passed on. Of course, especially in other communities, like I know I'm not accepted in a lot of communities if it's not Black. So it's not just white people. You feel me? I don't want to go there, but I just want to like know that it's not just white people. Like Black people is hated on by a lot of people and not accepted or looked bad upon. So I'm not even gonna like go there. But I just want people to know that they should watch their family members and speak up when they see stuff like that occurring. That's all I can say.
Hollie?
First off, I just want to say that I'm very proud to be Black, and I am blessed to be a Black woman. We are resilient, we are strong, we are powerful, and they know that. They just choose to act like they don't know it because they know the power that we hold. I want to say that I have experienced racism in a lot of different microaggressions and insults. I live in a complex where we have like a patio upstairs, and chilling with my family, my boyfriend, and someone who thinks they just another tenant in the building, monitors the patio. And just because they choose that that's their job. And he comes up because he hears me laughing. And he's just like, oh, like, what are you guys doing up here? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, we're minding our business. And he's just like, oh, did you spill water on the book? Just trying to come up with reasons to act like we're a problem and justify that we're causing some type of problem upstairs. I've experienced it in workplaces where they won't even address me, but they'll address their white counterparts that they're talking to with me just standing there. I've experienced it. I got into my tire popped and I had to pull into a white neighborhood for AAA to come, and a white man thought it was okay to walk up to my car and ask me what I was doing in that neighborhood. So there's been multiple experiences where I felt like I couldn't voice how I felt because of what may have happened if I did. Or I would have been seen as an angry Black woman for expressing how that is how I feel is a problem, you know what I'm saying? So racism, I don't believe will end in this situation we are in now, because I feel like people are not choosing to take accountability for their ancestors and the wrong they've caused us for years. They believe for some reason in their head that they are above us, and that is not the case. So I just want Black people to stick together and come to a common goal. We need to come to a common goal. And who cares what they believe and how they feel, because we know that they are not trustworthy in any way, shape, or form. They can show us over and over and over and over and over again, kneeling and police officers are kneeling, but we all know this is a facade. We all know it's fake. And if you're not going to truly stand with us in solidarity and truly be real, because we can depict what's real and fake, we are not dummies, then you're a joke. And we're gonna call you out. We're done playing the game of, oh, this person gets it. We're done with that. You gotta get on board or you're gonna be pushed all the way off.
There's no more fake tickets being issued to the cookout.
No more black squares that say hashtag Blackout Tuesday. You don't even know what the square's about. Good.
Okay, so this that was my next question. Is obviously every corporation and lots of people, and I'm sure genuinely lots of people who who mean well or who don't know what to do and are trying to do something are participating on social media in one way or other. The Blackout Tuesday squares on Instagram. Posting about white privilege, whatever it is. What is your guys's, just again, personally, what is your feeling about that stuff? I mean, is it, I think Gushers had a statement that, Gushers would be nothing without the Black community last year.
Yeah, that was rap.
Does any of that add up to anything for you guys? I mean, are you happy to see, maybe white people you've known throughout your life interacting with this stuff for the first time, or do you feel like it doesn't amount to much, I guess?
I would say for me, just addressing Black people who have been posting the Black squares and stuff, I took it as a way of us trying to start economic independence, trying to just show that like our Black dollars matter, and to like address, use those Black dollars to evolve and grow within our communities. Some people took it as this isn't enough. I tried to take it in a positive way for us to get on one accord. I would say for white people, posting their Black squares and only posting their Black squares, that just goes to show where they are, and they feel like this isn't an important matter for them to keep doing more. I have a couple white friends who have posted Black squares and have not contacted me or any of the people they hang out with in my crew to see if we are okay. So for me, I don't care what they're doing, to be completely like I truly don't care. Like their opinions and stuff have kind of just been like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not there with them right now. So.
Right. Deon, what do you think? Was the Gusher statement moving to you?
Nah, none. I feel like all these companies is trying to save themselves. That's how I look at it, because without us, like there'll be nothing. Uh, and as far as like the black squares and what people are doing, I just didn't take it serious. I'm like, a lot of people are just trying to do it to make sure they are a part of something, uh, just so they won't be looked at upon, or like say if someone hit them up like, oh, why you not doing it? They feel like the black square was enough. That's why I tell people all the time, like, that's just not enough. Like a post, a black square, especially if you're not putting no information, it just didn't do anything for me. It was just like taking up the feed. It was a waste of time, especially with the algorithm. It's so like terrible that you really can't bypass it. You're gonna see it 3 days later. That's what I did. I seen like 5 in a row of black squares, and like, I'm sorry if I unfollowed you, it was meant. Like you just not you're just not on the same wavelength as me right now. And as far as like pushing force, like to bring awareness, that's what I want people to be on, and not just feel like this black square is enough. Blackout Tuesday, we're standing with the corporation. The corporations really don't care about us, so stop wasting your time. Tomorrow they'll be okay. The next day they'll be okay. Once this bypass, they're not gonna think about it no more. We gonna still think about it. That's how I want to tell people, especially like I feel like the new thing is how to be informed. I hate that whole thing. What the ally thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. I tell people all the time, this is something you should already know, and not have to ask other black people their opinions, what they should do. Like if you know what's right, do what's right.
It's a feeling too.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. Like I understand you trying to seek information, go the right route, but come on now, it's pretty common sense.
Sherridan?
I think what's unique about the situation is this is the first time where, as a community, we are demanding to know your stance. Like, we're not just going to settle for a little repost or a like, or, when Trayvon Martin passed away, we didn't demand that you said anything. When Tamir Rice passed away, we didn't demand that you said anything. All these other instances, we were just like, maybe a little casual conversation here and there, but it was never anything where we wanted to know. And I feel like in this situation, we were like, enough is enough. Like, put up or shut up, pretty much. And I feel like the black square was everybody's, okay, here, like, see, I am with you guys. Just take the square and like leave me alone. And for most of us, we were like, what am I supposed to do with the square? Like, how do you want me to, I still don't know your stance. There's still nothing in your story about it. Like, let's be real, social media means a lot these days, right? And your voice and your opinion is on social media. So I don't want to hear, oh, I'm doing things behind the scenes. I didn't ask about that. Like, let me see it. Like, you want to be friends publicly. Okay, well, post your opinion publicly, right? So when everyone just had a blackout square, or just kind of like, is this, or with no caption, or with no definition, or with like, just what, I don't know. It was quite odd to me. So it's just, I felt like it was a cop-out. Like, okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to act. And I had, like she said, people posting squares that hadn't mentioned anything about it, haven't seen anything at all that you even cared on this issue, but you just didn't want to get canceled. So let me just go ahead and post a square really quickly. So it was more so saving their own butt than to push forward the Black Lives Matter agenda, or push forward the brutality that has been on our community for so long. So long story short, it was a cop-out when I said that.
I think the question we'll probably end on, I know we're getting close to our time, is again, asking you guys as Sherridan and Dion and Hollie, and not asking you to set a platform's goals. What changes would you guys like to see? Let's just talk about Long Beach. Let's talk about here. Let's talk about whether it's something to the schools or with the police department, or maybe it has nothing to do with those things. It's just the way people talk to each other, whatever. What is a change you would like to see happen, just yourself individually?
Well, I think first things first, to establish that every Black person you see is not the Black encyclopedia. We are not the Black dictionary. We do not have to educate you if we do not want to, if we don't feel like it. That's not our job, because wasn't nobody asking about us a couple weeks ago. So let's not get that part twisted. I also think moving forward, myself and two of my best friends, we started a platform, like Dion said, informing, even though it's not our job to do so. We figure if we're going to put the information out there, at least let's have it right and have it from the source.
Give your give the Instagram handle. I think that's great that you got. That's a good example of sort of citizen activism, in my opinion. What's the Instagram handle?
At the background 20. So we're just, posting the root. I think the biggest thing is people need to know the history. Black history is American history. It's not separate. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I get we have our own month, great, but like this country was literally built on our back. So if you want to know the real history of America, you need to know about the real America. So we talk about that on our page a lot, and resources and outlooks and outreach and things to really make a real change. But back to the community, I really think that reparations would be nice. The government wants to send over a check, that'd be great. But also just patience. I feel like why people want an answer. Like, okay, so what do we do? Well, how do we fix it? Like, this issue
I want to get back to my day. Right.
Like, this issue has been hundreds of years in the making. So it just might take hundreds of years to fix. And you did this mess. So you're going to sit there and be patient while we, as we always do, clean it up and figure it out, because who else is going to do it, if we're being honest? So I would just ask for patience. I would just ask for this issue not to go away. It's not going away for us. So to think that someone white could just turn off their Instagram feed, turn off the TV and think it's just going to disappear is just foolish. Oops. So pretty much, be patient and figure out what you don't know and be willing to learn is my biggest takeaway.
That's great. And I appreciate your point about every sort of random white person out there who sees Sherridan, you don't need to walk up to her and ask her.
My job. I don't even know everything. I'm not the encyclopedia. Like, I can't help you. I'm trying to figure it out too.
Right. Dion, what do you think?
Shoot. Let's start with the school system. If we can get more Black history in the school system, especially in
Black teacher.
You feel me? As far as even teachers, elementary school, middle school, high school, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not taught Black history until I got to college. So a lot of Black.
How did y'all like that? Ooh, see, I knew there was something wrong with that school. I knew it.
Don't do that.
I knew I couldn't stand up for a reason. I knew it.
I'm just saying, like a lot of the school system is taught on standards, so everything is all based off the white superhero, the war veteran, the what is it called? The American dream. I would like to see less of that and more of people that look like me that still exist, that walk next to everybody every day. And as far as like uplifting the kids, the Black kids, we need to provide them with more opportunities outside of just, of course, athletics and entertainment. They should be more pushing towards like the educational system, because we must be more informed in order to succeed. And I see a lot of Black people that are against it because they know that's not the quick money. It's not the fastest route. It's not praised as what we see on television. That's what I would like to see change for in the community. And just like this togetherness, I understand like Long Beach is very diverse. We're not going to escape that. But if we can find a way to get a nice Black community together, instead of everybody being on different agendas. Because I know Black on Black crime exists, but I hate like during times like this, like everybody only say, what about the Black on Black crime? But that's not the issue right now. I want people to understand that that's not the issue right now. And they should be on one accord when we are on one.
I think you make a good point though, when you talk about, even if you take education, which is sort of one slice of what the world is, right? The changes that you would like to see made involve the very local, like you'd like to see more Black teachers teaching kids in Long Beach.
I've never had a Black teacher.
I've only had one.
Until this year. This semester was the first time. And I took an intro to hip hop class. That tells you something.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Something. I've never had one.
But in addition to what you're talking about, local hiring practices and stuff, you're also saying the state standards, which is sort of the biggest, most institutional level you could get in terms of education. And it is difficult to, like Sherridan said, I mean, it's not a problem that you can change tomorrow, right?
You can't change.
Hollie, what are your thoughts as we get close to wrapping up here?
I would say my biggest change I want to see is Black ownership. We need to own we don't own nothing. We own about this much of everything in the United States of America. We need a gas station, a grocery store. We need our own. We need our own so that we don't depend on a handout from anybody and for anybody to think they could just take something away from us just because they can. I would say that's what I'm pushing for the most is ownership. And we are young and we are capable of making that happen. We're like all 24, I want to say. We're all trying to create our own platforms for things to change for ourselves. I'm starting my own show as well called the Hollie Ramsey Show, where I'm talking to people from all walks of life. I would say preferably more blacks, because our voice needs to be heard. And it's talking about real issues, real things that need to be addressed, and how we can grow as a community. There's a lot of Black-owned brands that are up and starting that need help, and we need to invest in those brands. We need to invest in those clothing brands. There's a lot of health and wellness brands we can be investing to. So I feel like Black ownership is the most important thing that we need, and I feel like that would really move us forward.
Well, I am going to, if anyone's following us on social media, I will have Instagram links. I know Dion's got a musical project coming out soon. Hollie mentioned she's got her show. Sherridan is still playing professionally when Ms. Rona leaves us, and has an Instagram account that she's starting to help educate people. I'll post those
My
links.
best friend and I, it's not just me.
Yes, excuse me. I'm sorry. You and Tyler Jackson and Devin Hudson as well, I believe,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. So I'll have those links on my social media for anyone who doesn't follow them. Please do. All three of you guys are great. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks to the audience at the Post for tuning in. Hopefully that was a different perspective than what you've been getting over the last week or two. And again, guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate
Thanks for having
you.
us.